This is so scary. Hello everyone. I'm going to try not to touch the microphone too much. Also try not to be too close to the microphone because that's one of my pet peeves when I'm watching other people on their podcasts and their videos and like all you hear is. So hopefully that wasn't too much for you. But hello. This is very new for me. Not the talking part. If you know me, you know that I am the self-proclaimed mouth of the South. And I have been working on my blog and my podcast for what seems like almost a year now. Probably a little bit over a year, honestly. And I've had setback after setback, which might have been self-inflicted as opposed to external setbacks. But for some reason today, and I will get more into it as we talk more, it's not going to be a super long episode. It's just going to be me talking, getting people to understand, or not understand, but get comfortable with the idea of me talking to them and maybe listening to me. So we'll see. But for some reason today, I just felt the need to speak up and actually put pen to paper, theoretically, because this is all off dome, honestly. And talk about some stuff with you all. Talk about something that I've experienced. And if you see me looking over here, it's just because I have all of my notes. Just so I can stay on track, you know? Again, mouth of the South. Long-winded. But now that you are here, now that I am here, we've both arrived, I want to welcome you to Glorious Mess, or what will become Glorious Mess. A podcast and a blog, or just a platform where we can talk about the chaos of being human. I'll be touching on a few different topics, mostly just about like lifestyle experiences. I'll be interviewing some people, bringing people on the podcast, and honestly, let me not even say interview, more so just conversations, just talking. You'll just be basically, it'll feel like you're getting a snippet or a little look into a conversation that I would have in my own home on my couch, which I am in my own home, not on my couch, but we'll see how things will look as we progress forward in terms of location. And, you know, I'm new to this. Not true to this, I'm new to this, okay? But in this podcast, we'll be talking about relationships, a little bit of politics, careers, money. The big thing is the mistakes that have been made along the way of all of those different areas. Nothing's off limits. Nothing's off limits. And I want people to feel comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that's something that I'm continuously learning myself. So why not make a platform for it? So yeah, this is Glorious Mess. So in this episode, which is my very first episode, the reason why I'm recording this is because today is October 6th. It's Monday, October 6th. I had a great weekend, saw my best friend, got to hang out with my family, with my boyfriend, and I haven't been spending as much time on social media. Again, we'll talk more about this as my podcast progresses because there's so much that goes into this and I don't want to exhaust you all in this short video. But in addition to October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month, which is also something that impacts me as a daughter of a survivor, I also realized that October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And with that being said, I feel like I have never shared my story, which is crazy to say because I'm still coming to terms with the idea of me being in a domestic violent relationship or situation, because it wasn't like a continuous thing. It wasn't like, oh, I was verbally abused or physically abused on an everyday basis, where there are women who are being tormented every day. And so I felt like, who am I to take that to step into that place, knowing that there are people who have experienced a lot worse than me, whereas my situation was just a one-time instance, and I was in a situation to where I was able to leave and be done with it right immediately after that took place, because I had my community and my support. But I figured that I would spend some time walking through what I experienced and what led up to it, and kind of break it down in 4 sections. So the 4 sections that I'm going to be breaking this down into are: 1, the fairy tale, okay? Where you're like, everything is soft and nostalgic and hopeful and you're in love. Pretty much like the honeymoon phase when you first get married, or when you first get into a relationship with anybody. Just very new, very fresh. Everything feels good. You feel like, wow, this is going to be like my fairy tale life. Second part is the disillusion, okay? And y'all know what I'm talking about. After that honeymoon phase starts to crumble and you're like, wow, you're seeing the person for who they truly are. You know, you've seen them in every season and you're realizing that they're very different than who you thought they were. Third section is the reckoning. And the reckoning doesn't always have to come after the disillusion. Sometimes you could just be disillusioned and leave. But if you're hard-headed like me, the reckoning had to come. And the reckoning is more so where you will get into the physical manipulation and violence. And then 4, the rebirth, which is, I think I'm still living the rebirth. This happened last year, April, I want to say. Last year, March. Yeah, March 2024. So I'm very much so still living in the rebirth, but there's so much has happened. So much has taken place. So let's get into it. Okay? So, the fairy tale. I was in a relationship with a boy. I won't say a man. And I'm not being petty. I just truly don't believe that he is a man yet. I was in a relationship with this guy, with this boy, who I had known since I was 15 years old. I was volunteering as a camp counselor at Atlanta Tech, and his mom worked there as like one of the teachers, because the children were very young. They were around, the children that we were counseling were very young. They were probably around 1st, 2nd grade, maybe even kindergarten, you know. So they had teachers there. So I met her, really liked her. She was a Spelman alum. And I felt like I really resonated with her story, with who she was, and I really looked up to her. I admired her as a woman. Mind you, I'm only 15 years old, wanted to go to Spelman, super excited about the possibility. She's also part of organizations that I had aspired to be part of. So I was like, oh, this is someone that I really want in my corner. Eventually, I met her son. Her son came to the camp to I guess he was just there. He wasn't a counselor, but he just came to work with her for one day, and we forged a friendship. Now, the friendship had always been flirty, but I didn't think anything of it when I was 15 years old. You know how you are when you're 15 years old, you're talking to people, doing what you do, whatever. And I think I actually was dating somebody at the time. I don't remember, but he was just very flirty with me, like initially. And I soon found out that he had a girlfriend. And I was like, okay, like, he's flirty, he had a girlfriend. I'm not trying to do anything with him. It is what it is. So eventually we became really good friends. And then we went to college. I ended up going to Spelman. He went to Morehouse. And we weren't really close that first year because, again, I had a boyfriend. I don't know what he had going on. We just weren't very close. And eventually, in my sophomore year, we got really, really close and became like a friend group with my best friend. And so we were all just really close. We were always hanging out in the parking deck, going skating, doing all types of stuff. And he was always, again, very flirty with me, but he was a flirty guy in general. And it was just, I never took him too seriously until we started to have sex. We started to do those things as like friends, you know, what do they call it? Friends with benefits. Again, it was like, okay, whatever, we're doing this every now and then emotions got involved and he started to try to pursue me in that way. Now, I don't want to put all this man's business out there, but he did have a child with the girlfriend that I knew that he had when I first met him. They didn't have that child until they were in college, like maybe sophomore year, junior year. I really don't remember too well. But they did have the child in college, and he was nowhere prepared to have this child. And as a friend, I didn't think too much of it because I'm like, oh, I don't have too much at stake with you. You're my friend. We mess around every now and then, but that's all it is. But then emotions started to get more heavy. And I had gone through something. I'm skipping a few things, but it's not really important. But COVID happened. I had been through a few relationships, whatever. The relationship that I was in right when COVID began ended because of this ex that I'm speaking of. I'm going to call him something. I'm going to call him Broccoli. Yeah, that's the first thing that came to my mind, so I'm going to call him Broccoli. So the relationship ended because of Broccoli, because they felt like me and Broccoli were too close and that we were going to end up doing something together, which we did. So they weren't wrong. But whatever. So me and Broccoli start hanging out more often. COVID has hit. Me and my other ex have broken up, and I'm hanging out with Broccoli all the time because Broccoli lives close by to where my parents lived, and I'd moved back home with my parents because of COVID. So eventually me and Broccoli start spending so much time together that I become pregnant. I ended up being pregnant. I found out that I was pregnant February 14th, 2023. Well, no, 2022, because I turned 23 that year. Yeah, I found out that I was pregnant. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think about the dates. This is such a long time ago. It feels like a whole different life, okay? Yeah, I found out I was pregnant on Valentine's Day of 2022. Yeah, so 2022. And a little background about me. I had always been the kind of person that I believed in abortion. I believed in pro-choice, but I never wanted to have to make that choice. I always wanted to have a lot of kids. Still want to have a lot of kids. Want to have like 5-6 kids. Always want to have kids young. I'm not very young anymore, so I probably won't be doing that. And that was also a young thought. A lot of times, in my opinion, when you want to have children very young, that's usually a younger mindset. When you get a little bit older and you start to realize what the world is, and not just like finances and stuff like that and traumas and all of that, you start to realize that you need to be a little bit more careful and more intentional about the people that you're bringing into the world. But it's neither here or there.
I said what I said.
So yeah, ended up being pregnant and was dealing with a lot of that emotionally because I felt guilty that I had gotten pregnant, which is crazy. I felt like he was going to be mad at me because he already had a son that he couldn't take care of, and he hated his baby mother. Let him tell it. He hated his baby mother, was always talking about how much he couldn't stand her all the time. And now that I am out in the situation, I feel like I know that was a manipulation tactic that he used on me to make me be the opposing party to his baby mother. So yeah, but anyway, ended up getting pregnant, made the decision that I was going to have this abortion because after having conversations with my family, with my sister, with my mom, I knew that I wasn't ready to be a mom, and it would be unfair to my child to bring that child into the world knowing that there was so much uncertainty out here. But that's just my own thinking. I know other people have children for other reasons, but for me, I just felt like I would not be able to look into my child's eyes and know and be able to honestly say I did everything I could to give them the best life they could ever have. That's just me. So got pregnant, ended up having the abortion, and then after that, it just felt like I was in this, I was emotionally numb, and I wasn't extremely close, or I would not say close. I was not as strong in my faith back then as I am now. And so I misread that situation as God being like, well, you got pregnant, this is the man you're supposed to be with, at least try it out. So I gave him the opportunity, okay? And I'm leaving out so much stuff, y'all. If you knew the tea. I used to go visit this man at his baby mother's house. Y'all. This is so embarrassing.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
So I was like, okay, let's try this out. I moved out of my house. I was about to curse on here, y'all. You already kind of heard it, but it's okay. Moved this man into the apartment with me, was paying all these bills, taking care of his son. There are instances where, I'm not going to get into that, but I was taking care of his son, helping him with his homework. His son has to be like 3 years old back then. I don't know. Was helping with the son, doing all this stuff, helping with his car, helping him with everything, every aspect of his life. It was like I was his mother, y'all. Like I was his mother, and his mother was completely overbearing, and she had those boy mom issues that a lot of people talk about, where it's more so like you're grooming this child to be your husband as opposed to your son. And she had this immense control over his life. Like, this man had a whole child, but your mom is still booking your haircut appointments, still booking your appointments for your dentist, still paying for everything because she didn't prepare you. She did not raise you to be a man. And your daddy ain't even nothing. But I'm getting shady now, so we're gonna reel it back in because I'm already on topic. Okay. So that was a fairy tale. I was in love. I was taking care of everything. I was like, oh, this is the man that God is placing in my life because he's supposed to be here. Okay? Little did I know that very soon I was going to be disillusioned by my experiences with him. I was saying that more light is required. It's getting a little dark. Oh. Oh. It's okay. Listen, let me turn that on real quick. I'm back. Okay. So, very soon, I became disillusioned by this man. But I felt like I'm the kind of person, once I make a commitment to something and to somebody, I don't care how much I'm disillusioned. I don't care how much I hate it. I feel like I have the responsibility to uphold my commitment. You have to be a person of integrity. Okay. Now, the disillusion, y'all. I started to realize, again, how I spoke a little bit earlier, that I was his mother, that I could not depend on him for anything, that he was not a partner to me. And eventually we broke up. We broke up after I lived in that townhouse for like a year. And then after that, we broke up when I moved into the townhouse that I'm currently in. But then I started doing my hot girl stuff. I was going on dates. I was doing my thing. And he was part of my roster after some point because he could not stay away. And clearly I was very weak. And so that was kind of the beginning of, I said this is the disillusion. I feel like the disillusion period was probably the shortest phase that I experienced because I used so many things to distract me after I realized that this wasn't right. After I said, okay, I need a break from this, we need to break up. I used the distract me. I used weed. I used alcohol, and I've never been a big drinker at all. I was using not relationships, but casual relationships, going out on dates, just talking to guys. I was using my dog as a distraction. I was doing any and everything to distract me from what my reality was and what I was going through, the emotions that I was experiencing. I lost so much weight. That was probably the skinniest I'd ever been. I'll put a picture in here like they do on YouTube. But it wasn't that much weight. If I really showed you a picture, you'd be like, girl, it was probably like 10 pounds lighter. But that's I've never been that skinny before. I've always been a thick girl. Since I was a baby, I came out as a 10-pound baby, okay? So that was different for me, and I didn't realize it until I look back on those pictures, and I'm like, damn, Micaiah, what were you going through? Okay? And so this is when the reckoning came around, okay? Because I want to get more into this domestic violence. I told you about how he used to pin me against his baby mother, And I felt like he used that as, he was a manipulation tactic to make me feel like, oh, I'm up here, she's down here. Oh, I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. You're so good. I want to be with you. I want to marry you. I want you to have my kids. All of this stuff. Okay. This is the dynamic between me and her. Until part of the disillusion period, I started talking to her more, and I was like, she's not the problem. She has her own trauma that she needs to deal with, but she's not the problem. It's him. He is the problem.
I hate these niggas so much.
And after I realized that, I was like, okay, I peep you now. And that's one thing to know about me, is that it may not look like anything has changed on the outside, but when my wheels are turning, know that I am keeping an inventory of every single thing you do, every single thing you say, because now I'm like, I peep game. Fool me once. What is it called? Fool me once. Jokes on me. Or damn, why do I sound like George W?
Fool me once. Shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Fool me, you can't fool me, can't get fooled again. Anyway, so I was like, okay, well, I understand now. Like, this, you're not really that bad. Now, I don't fuck with you. Hopefully I can leave that out. I mess with you, but you're not that bad. You're not really a problem. It's this man. And there was so much other stuff going on. He just wasn't a good guy, and I was starting to realize that. And I'm trying not to exhaust this, because again, I don't want to put all his business out there and everybody come at me like, oh my god, why are you talking about this man? Boo. Well, why did he punch me in the face? Ooh. So eventually I start to realize, again, I realize these things, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like, physically, I'm disgusted. Physically, I'm turned off. Physically, emotionally, I'm completely shut down. And I remember the day that this happened. He had gotten his wisdom teeth out, and I took him. I went to go pick him up. I was like, do you want me to come pick you up? I'll take care of you. All of this stuff, because that's the kind of person I am. And he was giving me mad fucking attitude. And I'm not even getting into his mom. His mom that's another topic. But I was like, I just don't understand what I cannot do right. And then he had these friends that he used to work with at a smoke shop, women friends, I'm trying not to get too much into the weeds of this, but it's important to know. Just know that we got into a disagreement about inappropriate relationships with his female coworkers, or with his women coworkers. And honestly, I don't remember what the conversation was, but I know that it got so bad that he came back to my house. And trigger warning for anybody, I'm gonna try not to be too graphic, but I also think that it's important that you hear this and y'all understand what people, not just women, what people are experiencing. People that you see, like me. I don't think anybody is going to be expecting me to release this and tell someone that I was a survivor of domestic violence or just manipulation, So we got into a disagreement, and we had gotten into like a screaming match at this point. And I forgot what was said, but I do know that this man is bipolar, by the way. He had gotten so upset that I could see it in his eyes. He was in my bathroom. The way that my bathroom are set up, upstairs. You go upstairs, and the bathroom is right here on this wall, and then the room is this wall. And so, or the door is this wall. So he's in the bathroom, and I'm like, I forgot what was said, but he was so mad. I could see it in his eyes. And I was like, this is okay. And so I remember running into my room and trying to close the door on him. And then him coming out and pushing me on the bed. And when he pushed me down... Sorry, my phone died. Anywho. So yes, So he pushed me on the bed, and when he pushed me on the bed, my knee went up and it hit him in the stomach because my legs were like in the fetus position when I was going back. He took that as me kicking him, so he started punching me in the face while I'm laying down in the bed. And I remember getting up and screaming, I will kill you. I will fucking kill you. Because I was so in shock, y'all. I was so just completely in, not even awe. I was just shocked. I was shocked that this person that I had put so much time into, someone that I taken care of their child, took care of the child like they were my own. Okay, dealt with his mother's crazy ass, dealt with his baby mother and all that drama that I didn't have to deal with, and this man's putting his hands on me. And so I remember being like, I'll fucking kill you, and like slapping him like as hard as I can on his jaw where he had just gotten his wisdom teeth taken out, where he just gotten like some work done. And after that, I remember him trying to like hold me and be like, oh, I'm sorry. And me just being like, are you fucking crazy? And going to the bathroom. And y'all, this is the one thing that I regret the most from the situation, is that I did not take a picture of my face before I cleaned it off. And I wish that I would have taken a picture of my face, because I had never seen, and I think the reason why is because I had never seen my face like that before. I had blood all in my mouth. I didn't know where I was bleeding from. My nose was hurting. Like I had blood all down my nose. I had blood all over my lips, all in my mouth. And it freaked me out because I had no idea where I was bleeding from. And I eventually found out that I was bleeding from my nose, but I didn't understand how it got all in my mouth. Like my teeth were red. And I remember him being like, let me clean your face. And it made me remember when he had told me before that he had hit his baby mother and that he had punched the walls, and that's why she had kicked him out the first time. And after doing like research and trying to understand my situation a little bit more, I realized that a lot of people who had experienced domestic violence, their abusers will abuse you and then go into this state of, let me fix you, let me help you, I'm here for you. Like they create the chaos and they create all this violence and danger, and then in turn, again, I think this is a manipulation tactic, in turn come and say, hey, I want to take care of you. I know I caused all this violence, all this anger, but I want to take care of you. And so it took me a really long time after that to reconcile with everything that happened. Honestly, I went back into my distractions. Like immediately after that, I went to Vegas. That was one of the best trips I've ever had. Shout out to my bestie. I went to Vegas for her birthday. One of the best trips I ever had. And then eventually I went to, after that, I just started doing things all summer. I was like, I'm a young lit bee. So I'm going to go live my life. I'm going to do all these things. I'm not going to let this define me. And at the time, I didn't think of it as domestic abuse. I didn't think of it as like, oh, he abused me or he was violent with me. Like, I just thought of it as this man has BPD and he was in pain. He couldn't get to his drugs. He couldn't get to any alcohol to soothe himself. And so he was on edge and I pushed him too far. That's how I had always seen it in my head. Up until I just started to have more conversations with people and understand like what their perspective was and what their experiences were as well. And it started to make me think about what my life looked like. And not only that instance where he put his hands on me, but all of the time leading up to it. I had a different perspective on what all that was. And for me, it wasn't the fairy tale. It was never the fairy tale. This was all a manipulation tactic. This was all a man or a boy who could not take care of himself, who hopped from his mom to his baby mama's house, to another woman's house, to another woman's house, to another woman's house, doing absolutely nothing but providing sexual favors. Sorry, got a text message about this NBA program. Anyway, so just using sexual favors to get him places, getting people pregnant, like so many people pregnant, and everyone's having an abortion except for one person. But like people getting pregnant, doing all these things, like I was exposed to an STD because of this man. Thank God I never got anything, but like, come on now, like there are so many sacrifices that I made, so many times I had put in myself and my body in danger for this man, and I just could not believe that he did this to me. Okay. And then when he was leaving, I told him he had to go. I told him he had to get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. He had to get up out of here. And I told him he had to sit outside. It was March. He had to sit outside. And I was like, you have to leave. You have to leave. You have to go. You cannot be in this house anymore at all. Like, you have to leave right now. And he did leave. And before he left, he's like crying and like apologizing and all this stuff. And then he hits me with this, y'all. He hits me with, I just never felt loved by you. Oh my gosh, that was a aggressive call. Woo. I said, nigga, you can't be serious right now. You never felt loved by me? Then why did you pursue me for so long? Why did you beg me to be in a relationship if you never felt loved by me? You never felt loved by the person who moved you into their home, 2 homes. You never paid a bill. Never bought a grocery. Used to drive my car from here to Timbuktu. Never put gas in it. Someone who used to buy your child meals, cook your child dinner, help your child with homework. And when I said that to him, because for me, I feel like one of the biggest ways to show someone that you love them, that you care for them, is to show how much you care for the people that they love the most, and how important they are to you as well. Because for me, and I said this to my boyfriend recently, I was like, the people who are important to you are important to me because I love you. And because I love you, you know? And I said to him, I was like, you know, all those times I took care of your son, all those times that I did all of these things for him, made him shirts for his birthday, did all of these things to make him feel loved and seen. And you know what he said to me? I want you to come in close to hear this shit. This man said, you know, I never wanted him in the first place. This man said, you know, I never wanted him in the first place. Cross my heart, hope to die. That was his response to me saying that I showed him my love in many ways, but one of the biggest ways through how I cared for his only son, his only child. And he said to me, you know, I never wanted him anyways. And honestly, if it hadn't clicked before then, it absolutely clicked then. Absolutely. That he might have loved me, he might have appreciated me, and he might have all this stuff, but there was nothing that I could ever do to make this man be the man that I needed him to be for me. And there were so many emotions that I was feeling that moment. I was feeling disappointment. I was feeling sad for his child, because nobody comes into this world, no one asks to be born. And I had spent so much time with this little boy, and he was such a joy. And I still hope the best for him and his mother, honestly. But such a joy, and to know that he loved his dad so much. When I tell you, and he looked just like him. They're twins. Looks just like him. And he says to me, I never wanted him anyway. You know that. I don't care. That's what I heard. I don't care what you did with that boy. I never wanted him in the first place. And for him to say that is crazy. Crazy. Okay? And now furthermore, to go down the road of craziness, I called his mother and told him, your son just put his hands on me. You need to get him the F out of my house. I didn't say that to her, but I said, your son just put his hands on me and it's not the first time he's done it. He told me that he did it to his baby mama before. And instead of taking accountability, telling her son like, oh, that was wrong, blah, 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 she gonna tell me, oh, well, what did you do? What did you do to make him do that? And I was like, y'all, this is the most toxic situation I've ever, like, y'all are the most toxic family and people that I've ever met in my life. Okay? I was like, this is crazy. Okay? But yeah, all that happened, and we are finally at the last phase, which is the rebirth. Okay? I think I'm gonna have to do a whole nother episode on the rebirth, because I think the rebirth is what brought on this podcast, is what brought on Glorious Miss, is what made this possible. Because I have transformed so much, and not only since that time, since 2024, but just like in this short period of time, you know, like in this year alone, in 2025, I've transformed so much. I'm giving my life to Christ. It's already been into Christ, but I was baptized last year. I met the absolute love of my life. And I've just really poured into myself. Now, there are things that I'm still working on. Y'all see me rocking my little fro here. I'm trying to be more comfortable with my natural hair again. Y'all see me in my gym clothes. I be in the gym, girl. I be in the gym. Just working on my fitness. He's my witness. So, you know, I'm trying to take care of myself. And I don't know. I just felt like I've been sitting on this story. I've been sitting on this experience for a long time, just not talking about it, and I felt like it deserved to be heard, or at least said. Not even heard. I don't care if nobody listens to this, but it deserved to be said, because again, like, there's a multitude of reasons why I think these stories are important. One, because you never know what people are going through. You never know the happiest, strongest person you know. Maybe the person going through the most trauma, maybe experiencing really tough seasons right now. And then also, more so, it's just like therapy for me to talk about my experiences. And I hope that me being vulnerable and opening up and telling you all something that's so intimate, that it gives other people the courage to come out and talk about their experiences. Because it's tough. It's really tough. But know that it gets better. It gets better. Depending on what decisions you make, you know? But yeah, that's really it. I don't want this to be too long. I've been talking for about 4 to 5 minutes now, y'all. My goodness. I told you I'm long-winded. But I just wanted to tell that story. I wanted to share that with y'all. I wanted y'all to know more about me. And more is to come. I will make another podcast episode, another video about this rebirth that I have been experiencing. If you want to know more into detail about what I've been doing, what my life has looked like now, I'm more than welcome, or more than happy to share that. I'm also happy to share what my experience was being pregnant at 23 years old, and having an abortion. And trigger warning, I had a surgical abortion, not a medical abortion. The difference is a surgical abortion, obviously surgery. You go under, you have surgery to remove the embryo, fetus, I don't know, oh Lord, Don't come for me, y'all. And then the medical abortion, which I personally think is a lot more traumatic and a lot like harder on a woman's body, is when you take the pill and you go into labor and push the baby out at home. So yeah, so if you want to know more about that, welcome to share. But I'll probably still be talking about it anyway. Like I told you, Glorious Mess is about the messiness of life, the chaos of being a human, and that's one of the things that happen. You know, one of the things that can happen, especially with this day and age. I think it's important to let y'all know, like, you know, people get pregnant, y'all. People get pregnant. People get into some crazy situations. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I know it's pretty dark and they can't see me anymore. I know this is pretty ghetto, but I'm still gonna post it as is. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you are able to tune in to my blog. I have one post up. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm going to make this into a blog post. It was kind of just something that I just wanted to talk about, but I might talk about it a little bit and make it into a blog. But yeah, so thank you. Please follow me on Instagram at _the Kenyatta. I sound like an influencer. We can talk about that too, because I hate influencer culture. Anyway, follow me at _the Kenyatta. My Instagram for the Glorious Mess is, I think, the Glorious Mess. Hold on, let me make sure. I'm sorry, I probably should have had this stuff together. I promise y'all, the next time it will be much better than this. Hold on. Next time it'll be much better. Oh, it's at aglorious.mess. That is my Instagram. There are a few posts up. You'll also find the link to my website, to my blog, to where you can find all of my blog posts. I'll probably post this YouTube video on there as well. And yeah, I will see y'all when I see y'all. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.